Hey people, it's Niles talking. Now I titled this Lack of Understanding because that's basically what the whole video is about. Now recently I had a conversation with a Nigerian who was a Yoruba ethnically. And we had a whole conversation starting with black history, and then he said about black America. And he said, I saw on Twitter, and some of you who follow a certain internet personality, you know who I'm referring to. And he said there was this whole thing, and they were talking about, oh, we're owed respect and talking down on other black peoples. And the whole conversation led to me talking to him about black America, and he talked about some of the stereotypes that he'd been taught to believe. So he said, oh, he'd been taught that black Americans were lazy, so I helped deconstruct that, and I said, first off, that's not true. I said to him that the media is not interested in a good image of black Americans. So it perpetuates one of being lazy, of the worst type of person. And if you want to be an actor, a black actor in Hollywood, you have to be willing to accept those roles, or you may not get any work at all. And then we talked about a lot of things. So I had to explain to him the dynamics of black America and about why black Americans are the way they are. And I said to him that, when you have come from a place of, I explained some things about slavery, like the term mother effer, and I said, do you know where that comes from? In slave breeding plantations, you would have them force the young men to procreate with their own mothers by putting a bag over their head in an attempt to make more slaves by any means necessary. And I said, you're dealing with a people who have had such incredible traumas inflicted on them for hundreds and hundreds of years. And then I said to him, and then you hear about people saying lazy. Black people have worked very, very hard. Tiwaniyan blacks have worked so hard. But so many times the things they have done have always been taken from them. If you look at the list of inventions that black people do not get credit for or are cheated out of, it is ridiculous. So like Jack Daniel's whiskey. And I said to him, lots of times, like black people's property has been stolen. I mentioned in one of the videos I did about Richard Williams. He narrated a story that there was a preacher in Louisiana who had a 200-acre farm, but his white neighbors had been envious of it, so they came in, threatened to kill everyone unless he signed the deed over, and they took it. And this happened hundreds and hundreds of times. And I said, when you have this, when you have had your hard work taken away from you, it creates resentment that you're seeing people succeed. Or that when you have things like redlining, where you want to buy a house and the government draws up a line on a map where you are and says, those houses are not good to buy, there are no loans there, you can't buy a house. So that keeps you in generational poverty. And then I talked to him about things. So black people, Tiwaniyan black Americans, and the Jamaicans are behind most black culture. You cannot have anything without Tiwaniyan black Americans. And I said to him, despite all the suffering, all the oppression, they have still succeeded and created some of the most incredible contributions to basically everything: architecture, culture, music, movies, civil rights, everything. It's like Professor Black Truth said, there would be no American culture without black people. There's no human or democratic spirit without black people. And I remember even saying on one of my posts that these Asian people held up black freedom fighters because they are viewed as the only legitimate freedom fighters by all the other races. And I said to him, so when you have people, some people, say some Nigerians, some Africans, who come to America and they will insult and speak down on black Americans, it is highly insulting. And I said to him, you have to understand, when someone has been oppressed and been cut off from their own people, and their own people, or even just maybe a small section of those people come and are insulting and disrespectful, it's like a double slap in the face. I said to him, it will be like being cut off from your own family, and when your family comes back, they tell you, we don't want you. And what else was I going to say? And I tried to explain to him, I said, no matter how, as a Nigerian, if you come to here, to England, or if you go to America, and if you fail, you can always go back home. Black Americans do not have that luxury. There is nowhere for them to go. There is no safe place. They are trapped in America. So you have all these poverty, all this oppression, all this racism, and there's nowhere to go. And then you have others misunderstanding and labeling them and not trying to see where they're coming from. So I was trying to explain all this to him, and he was very on board with it. He seemed to understand and take it on board and see where the error of his ways. But it brings back to this whole social media commentary, because we were talking about these whole FBA and ADOS thing. And I don't like talking about this because the last time I did it, there was just so many people shouting in the comments. I was like, this ain't worth it, because nobody was willing to see what I was trying to say. But it brings this up because this whole thing, this whole movement, is not actually helping create bridges or trying to help either side understand each other. Because he's sitting there watching this, and he's not actually learning the error of his ways and trying to talk to his black brothers and sisters in America and try to help them. It's just like, oh, well, they're insulting us and talking down on us. And obviously, black Americans do not see any gains either, because they simply are being taught, well, there's this minority of people who are causing problems and having endless clips and moments being highlighted to show the very worst. And I say to black Americans, how is that worse? How is that not the same what the media does? They'll take the worst things that the black American public have ever done and put that on a 24-hour blooper reel. We know that black Americans are capable of great things and have done great things. But the way the media would tell it, that's the only thing that black people are. We know that's not true. The same thing is being done here. There are many great black Africans who've done great things, but certain people are instigating to say that this is the standard, that they are the worst of the worst, that they are hostile, that they are coming to take everything from you. Now, the point of this video, I don't know how to create understanding, but I think there needs to be some efforts from both sides to understand one another and to work together. Because I said to him, can you imagine what would have actually happened if black Americans and Nigerians had tried to come together and work to accomplish something, rather than simply being instigated to have these online shouting matches, blaming each other? And going back forward, I tried to explain to him some of the situations the black Americans were in with examples from his own country. Now, in Nigeria, there's a group called the Hausas who control Nigeria, and the whole country is very poor and oppressed. And I said to him, so other groups in the south, like the Yoruba and the Igbo, blame the northerners, but in actuality, most northern people are more poor than the people in the south. They suffer just as much, if not more, under the leadership of the country. But because the people in the south only see the northern leadership, they all think the people in the north are all like that, all causing problems and all desiring to control and oppress everyone else, when it's not true. And to try and explain to him, I said, during the Nigerian Civil War, after what happened, the government tried to punish the Igbo population by introducing a new currency. And they would only give, I think, like the equivalent of $20, no matter what you had in the bank, as a way to economically punish them. And I said to him, that happened one time. If this happens to you as a black American over and over and over again, it gets frustrating to try hard to succeed, and it's being taken away. Because I said to him, things like the lottery, black Americans started that in Harlem. The government made it illegal, then made it into a business, and now black Americans can't profit from it. And they do this with weed, they do this with everything that makes money. And then to have some groups of people come to America, and I'll try and explain this to him, and talk about, oh, I've become successful. And the black American reaction is, how dare you? You couldn't have become successful in your own country. You could only become successful by running away and coming here. So how are you in a position to brag about yourself? I was trying to explain to him the black American perspective. I'm not trying to say any of those people were inherently bad. But like I said, I'm just saying this video, I really think there should be an attempt on both sides to create peace and understanding, because this isn't it. It's not, all this venting and frustration is not creating solutions. It's not creating anything. It's just creating more of a divide. Now, I do understand where black Americans have come from, And I do understand where some of these other black Africans are coming from, like, why are we being blamed for things we didn't do? And black Americans are saying, well, we wanted brotherhood and there's not enough of these African brothers and sisters showing love. Well, maybe I could say this. One thing that really got the conversation going, as I said, I've been trying to learn a language. Can I practice some of my language learning with you? And I really got the conversation going. So maybe black Americans, when they talk to whoever they are, they say, oh, could you try and teach me a bit of the language? Maybe black Africans could invite, when they go back home, oh, we're going on a trip home, would you like to come with us? And just to see our country, as an attempt to include black Americans. Perhaps black Africans could work with black Americans to jointly set up businesses. Again, I do not know the solutions, so if these solutions aren't working, I'm sorry, but I just know that somebody needs to try and both sides need to work together to accomplish something. I've said what I said. Anyway, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. If you could, they put a strike on my channel, a warning on my channel. If you could follow my backup in the comment section. Thank you.